Yeah, warmly welcome to Rust Dortmund Interviews. My name is Janus, and with me is Christoph Petig, who gave a talk at today's Rust Meetup. But before we go into the more technical direction, I like to start with a personal question. And you're a programmer, and I know you have two kids. And did they follow up your footsteps? I learned your daughter did this T-shirt earlier, so maybe I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, so my son learned programming in school, Java, of course, in high school. And then he was more interested in chemistry. So he did some quite interesting things and studied chemistry. And currently, he's researching in computational chemistry. He's doing his PhD this year.
Very cool.
And he's living on programming in Fortran, high performance computing.
I know people are complaining a lot about Fortran in this field, like we are complaining about.
Well, it does its job. And he also learned Rust. So last December we did the Advent of Code, both in Rust. And so,
Yeah,
kind of a challenge.
kind of a challenge. Like that is a very cool interaction of father-son. And I also know like we have this game jam upcoming from the Dragons, and I know you love programming games. You did it as a hobby project. Do you want to tell the audience a bit about this project and what you did there?
Yes. Well, basically, when I started programming, I always learned it to program games because I like computer games. And so my first programs were games. This project I just joined in 2020 to learn Rust. So it's Veloren, which was started in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And it already featured quite prominently within This Week in Rust and the game development newsletter at that point in time about Rust, so Rust in game development. I just started with, so I think one of my first merge requests was about actually making the spawn point persistent. So it was already graphics and database programming combined. And later on, I looked into getting the economy simulated because at that point in time, you actually, when you entered a dungeon, you actually came out with lots of loot, and typically you just threw it away because you cannot carry all of it, and there was no use for it. So I designed I extended the already existing simulation about economy in a way that you would actually assign prices to goods. So whatever you would loot from a dungeon, you would be able to sell. And that lead then. And further on, after that, I was very interested in the plugin interface. So I designed a new plugin interface which was using WASI 0.2.
Whoa, WASI. Yeah, I'm curious about the spawning point which you started. Like that was like first like contribution in the like is it part of the level editor work then or how do I?
No, so there was a single starting village in the center of the world, and you always started from there. Whenever you logged out, you started from there again, and you could just go to one of the campfires in the world, and then you would temporarily set your spawn point there, so you would return there unless you logged out, and then you would return to the city.
I see. Yeah, that sucks when you far in the game and have to travel a long distance, huh?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you moved into the direction of WASI and built like a. What was that work about?
So I always had a soft spot for plugins. I always like doing some plugins in an abstracted way. I try to recall the name. It's a long time ago. Someone else already started a plugin interface, and it was very basic, and it required a lot of changes to the whole code base. So it was very spread across all the code base, and it was very difficult to maintain because we basically created a different version for the plugin of the whole gaming library from the version which was used in game. So that was quite clumsy, and so I tried to rework that in a way that it's actually more reusable. And then with WASI, I was able to just compile all of the gaming library towards WASI, and then it was an easy sell, and all of the special code got away.
Yeah, like WASI enables you to like share even like the memory space with different languages, right? Or am I on the wrong track for WASI itself?
No, that's totally right. You just have to distinguish between WASI 0.1 or the first WASI, which is still used to just give a systems interface to WebAssembly programs. So if you want to run a program on any embedded or on V8, for example, you would actually target this WASI 0.1 world. And WASI 0.2 was a rewrite of that one with pluggability and more language independence in mind. And this comes with an interface definition language, which is then implemented for all of the many interesting languages. So you can combine.
I mean, this is like actually, I think, one of the interesting business cases for the Rust programming language going into like more traditional industries like automotive, where you're working on actively, because we can introduce this tech stack step after step, like build new safe functions in Rust and replace the old one or time after time. So do you think there is also a lot of value for like the normal world? Like a lot of companies seem to want to adopt Rust from the C and C++ world. Like they have software products in this, and is WASI maybe a better way to approach a like combined code base than the typical code generation tools like BindGen or CXX?
Whoa.
Deep question. So
It will probably be a longer answer. So BindGen is just about combining C or C++ and Rust. That's the only option this gives to you. Also, since most languages have a C interface, you can also just use it to combine Python and Rust with lots of pain. Pyo3 is a high-level interface between Rust and Python. So this is actually there's a huge variety of interface libraries or interface solutions between two languages. And once you actually want to go for more than two languages combining, then WIT gets very interesting. There's another one which is called...
So WIT is another library like Pyo3?
It's an interface definition language. So basically a domain-specific language. And it only describes the interface between languages. And then you need a code generator which generates this binding, which then interfaces between the standardized binary interface between these languages. So there's a common binary interface, and then you just translate towards your towards the language you chose. And with WASI 0.2, it's basically you have the choice between Python, JavaScript, Kotlin, Rust, C++, C. I probably forgot some.
Yeah, but I think like then it's more like WASI is really the successor of like things that have been done in the COM or Copra space, right? When you like it's an application binary interface then.
Yes.
And like I often see this use case that software companies start with like a C code base. So it's often C, C++, and then they want to adopt Rust because Rust is the only safe memory safe language that also comes with all the performance benefits. So you don't pay the penalty, as you said in your talk. And I'm just wondering, because at the moment I'm working in a project, and I think that's the way to go, because we don't have like a plugin interface. Mostly these application binary interfaces are having an object like a plugin object and so on. But do you think there's a lot of potential for porting, like traditional porting too, beside like getting every language in one pot, so to speak?
So this is traditionally WASI is about, or VIT, which is the language which was introduced with WASI 0.2, is used to combine languages using WebAssembly as a target architecture. And that works quite well. But for automotive, we did not want to actually make that leap that early. So we were going for something which was still compiled to native, but would already use the component model. And so we just designed a variant of the binary interface, which is more easy to use with native components, and it's also more efficient. It doesn't come with the sandboxes, so it has some downsides, but it's highly efficient. It's nearly as efficient as the native implementation, and it's language agnostic. So we use that to combine Rust and C++, and of course Python would be another candidate for just seamlessly combining these languages.
Very cool. So spreading some light on these very deep technical topics. Yeah. You want to add something?
Yes, and the interesting thing is with VIT, it's designed with shared nothing in mind. So it's always clear who has ownership of objects and who can access memory. And this is something which helps if you just migrate an existing C or C++ code base, where ownership and memory access patterns are typically very opaque. So if you then migrate to this well-defined ownership or model, which is introduced by VIT, then you basically get a clear-cut interface, which is also composable. So you can actually place one part of the software in one process and the other part in a different process, and just put a network connection in between, and both processes will not know the difference.
Oh, that's very impressive. Yeah? So very deep technical talk. Maybe we can closing the loop back, because I am thinking about getting some personal notes here, because you have another hobby you told me about theater, right? And it's also like it's related to your beard. So I would love when you tell us about this. Like, it sounds very cool.
27, 28 years ago, within the parish in the home I lived in, we just started a quick theater play on just for fun. And then it just got a bit more in the next year. And then it somehow established itself as a regular theater performance. And so we are basically doing one theater performance per year. And it's mostly British comedies, of course in German, because our visitors are getting older as well. And it's a lot of fun, and I'm playing a Scottish emergency doctor, and the beard is part of my persona, so it's actually being talked about. The beard needs some cutting. This is why I have so long hair right now, and I don't know for sure whether I will keep it after the performance.
Yeah, I had problems to recognize you at the beginning because of it. But what I really like, just like a funny question, is like, do you have like costumes? Will you like wear kilts or something?
No, not this one. I think the most funny one was actually playing an Russian ballet dancer.
Oh.
I was dressed in full green, so with tights and everything. So it's that was, and also speaking Russian without understanding the language, which took some learning.
And you perform in Wuppertal then? So where do we get the cards?
Oh,
Was it invite only?
no, it's not invite only, but last year we sold out without even putting up a poster.
Oh, yeah.
So it was sold out before I even started advertising for it. And this year we just went back to 6 performances with 110 attendees roughly. So there might be some chance. And typically within starting at the fall break, school break, typically we just start selling tickets, and you can get them in the local bookstore and in the Paris bureau.
Very cool. So I will try to get one. Maybe you can hint me, because I really want to see this performance. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this deep technical knowledge, I want to say, and your cool personal life with games, children, and theater plays.
Thank you.